You know that kid that had everything to succeed in life, but they still managed to fuck up and throw everything away. If there was a movie representation of that kid, it would be Solo. Because this movie, the idea behind this movie was really good. Because Han is a good character. So why not to show more of this awesome character that a lot of people enjoy. Like the same goes for Boba Fett. Everyone likes him, so why not to make comic books about how he escaped that sand monster? Why not to make TV shows about him? And this movie, Solo, shows us why not to to turn that into a reality. Um, like this movie fails in so much areas that I don't even know where to start. But like I think the biggest problem to me is like that it tries to explain too much. Like there is a lot of little details that are just mentioned in the original trilogy, and they try to make those details a big thing. Like right at the beginning of the movie, Han is trying to escape a smuggler. What's it called? A smuggler like gang, because he failed at a job and now he owns this gang money, so he's trying to escape from them. And there is a lot of close shots of this little pair of dices, and to be honest, I don't even know from where these dices come from. Like there is a bunch of close-ups of this object, so I assume it's important. Like, but I can't remember from where they are. I don't remember if Han has them on the original trilogy. I can't remember if that's something that it's hanging on the Falcon, like those pair of dice some people put in their car mirrors. So I assume it's that, but I can't I can't remember from where it is. And like this movie tries to explain that. It tries to explain uh, how Han got the Falcon. It tries to explain why is this ship so important, like why the ship is so good. And to me, it's those little things I I didn't need it to see. I get that some people that grew with the originals may have this desire to finally see those things that the characters talked about in the other movies. So maybe for people that grew up with the only the original trilogy, maybe it's like important, or I don't know, maybe they would enjoy to see those things. But like when I first started watching Star Wars, there was already the prequels and a couple games, so those little things that the characters mention, they talk the those little things that the characters talk about, like I was not very curious to see those. Um, but then moving on the movie, Han is trying to escape from that burglars gang with his girlfriend, which is another thing that I don't know if I like that idea because, like on the original, Han um, is after Leia. Um, but this movie creates this woman that he cares about, but by the end of the movie, they didn't kill her. So the movie ends, and Solo's girlfriend is still alive, and then um, that kind of contradicts the original movies, because if this girlfriend that Solo really cares about is still alive, why did he went after Leia? So the movie tries to like explain a bunch of stuff, but he just creates new loose ends that we would need another movie to explain those. Um, so Han, going back to the movie, Han manages to escape the this burglars gang, and he does that by joining the Imperial army. And it's the moment where we have that awesome line that Han says that he is alone, and the guy just makes up a new last name. Oh, and that's one of the moments that the movie tries to explain too much. Like, come on. Han's last name is because he was alone at that moment. It's because he does not have a family. So what? Luke then literally walks into the sky. Like Luke has the skill to jump into the clouds and walk on top of them. Because he is a Skywalker. And if like every last name is because of a characteristic of the character, that's the only explanation I could think of. So come on. So Jabba the Hutt, it's not a nickname. It's literally his name and last name. Jabba, it's the name. The Hutt is his last name. Because someone looked at Jabba and said, "You're a Hutt. Your last name is gonna be the Hutt." That's so bad writing. They could have just ignored that. They didn't need to explain why Han's last name is Solo. What if the Imperial Guard that enlists Han into the army uh, didn't thought about the Solo word? Like right now, I don't think I talked about it, but like I think it's easy to see that I don't have a script. So I just watch the movie and I try to make the video about the stuff that I remember about the movie. And like sometimes I'll forget about or forget some words. So what if the Imperial Guard hadn't remembered about Solo? So like, who's you? I'm Han. Alright, Han what? Nothing. I'm alone. And then the Imperial Guard just goes like, alright, Han alone. That's your name now. Or like Han unattended. Because he couldn't think of a better word. So yeah, like I don't know which line is like best, like Han Solo or somehow Palpatine have returned. Both of them are like S tier. They are literally the greatest lines uh, in the entire Star Wars franchise. But going on, Han enlists himself into the army. 3 years passes by. So his plan was, I need to get out of this planet with my girlfriend. His girlfriend gets captured, so he's the only one that is able to escape. And then his plan was, I'm gonna escape, I'm gonna get some money, I'm gonna get a ship, and I'll get back to my girlfriend so I can finally rescue her. And then 3 entire years passes by. 3 entire years that he is fighting for the Imperials, and he still didn't manage to get money, enough money to go back to his girlfriend. But right, I'm gonna let that pass, even though I already criticized it. But sure, he gets to the Imperial army. He finds some rebels hiding into the army, and then he tries to blackmail the rebels. Like, you need to let me is you need to help me escape with you, or I'll just scream that you guys are rebels. So this is his plan, but then the rebels do it first. So they scream that Han it's a rebel that have infiltrated into the Imperial army. And then no one questions it. It's just like, oh, that guy screamed first, so he must be right. So they just grab him and throws him into a cell where Chewie is trapped to. To me, the movie could have started right now, right at this moment. It didn't need to explain anything before that. It didn't need to show those stuff. It could have started right now. The like, let's say Han gets captured by the Imperials, and they also capture a couple other smugglers, and they throw them into the cage where Chewie is being trapped. And then the movie resumes after that. That could have been the beginning of the movie. Like, they managed to calm down Chewie. That scene is good. I have to say that. Like, him just screaming at Chewie and saying that he knows some Wookiee words. So that was cool. But yeah, the movie could have started like that. The Imperials capture a bunch of smugglers, and Han is among them. They throw the smugglers into Chewie's cage. They manage to get Chewie's trust, and they escape. And then the movie could continue the same way that Solo continued after that moment. But yeah, going back to the movie, Han is able to gain Chewie's trust. They flee from that cell, and then Han goes back to the rebels that were the reason that he got trapped. So again, to me, that's another big plot hole. And I would say it's even worse than Han having a girlfriend. Because Han having a girlfriend that that is still alive by the end of the movie, it just contradicts another movie. But this, like, the rebels get him sent to jail, and then he escapes jail and goes after those same rebels. It contradicts itself. Like, it's a contradiction. It's a contradiction in the same movie. And somehow this in this moment, the rebels just decide to not scream again, not say like, not true, not true, hand again to the Imperials. So yeah, after that, I don't think I have much more complaints about this movie. It's just like some little details, but because the movie tries to explain everything, it creates even more plot holes than what we would have if this movie didn't existed. So like the first 20 minutes of the movie could have not been made. Like they could have come up with another idea that would be way better. Like the the burglars from the beginning of the movie, we never see them ever again. The Imperials, again, I don't think I remember seeing them in this movie another time, besides this one moment where Han is in the army and on the camp where he gets sent to jail. So why to put the Imperials in the movie? Why to put the Burglars gang into the movie if we are not gonna see them ever again? But anyway, Han gets to the rebel ship. I'm calling them rebels, but like not rebels as Luke and Leia, because they are not with the rebellion. It's kind of hard to to say that because the rebellion is just called the rebellion. So anyone that is against the empire, it's kind of a rebel. But these rebels are not rebels in the sense of the New Hope movie rebels. So these are like smugglers. So Han gets rescued by these smugglers. And then they have this job where they have to steal this spaceship fuel, which is another thing. Like it's another midi-chlorian. Like it's a thing that will never be mentioned ever again. Like besides this one movie, there is just in the Last Jedi, It's those are the two movies that someone mentioned fuel. So in this one, we are stealing these particles. They are used to make fuel, and in the Last Jedi, um, someone mentions that they are running out of fuel, but fuel is a thing that was never mentioned in any other movie besides those two. But sure, um, they could have. I would let this pass, but they could have made it like anything else. They could have just made gold or money, or I don't know, anything that like. Alright, gold is also another thing that is never mentioned in the in any other movie, but like everyone needs money, so I think it could be better. So anyway, the robbery goes um, not it does not go well. Like two of the people in the gang dies, which is great. Another movie that had the courage to kill their characters. So these two characters die, and then they had a this idea to do the castle run. So they're gonna go to this mining facility. They are gonna steal the fuel particles from there and deliver to the guy they needed to deliver the previous fuel particles, the ones that they didn't manage to steal. Um, Again, the movie could have started right at that moment. It could start like I don't know. They could have made him lost money in a cards game, or something like that, and to pay out, like he could have borrowed someone else's money and he lost he loses this money on a game of cards, and then now he have to make the castle run so he can pay out the guy that he borrowed money from, and then the movie could have started in that moment, like he assembling a crew to do that, and then like the movie could have established him as like a bad player, because then later on when he wins the Falcon from Lando, it would have been a character progression. Like in the beginning of the movie, Han loses a lot of money because he's bad at cards, and then at the end, like something happens in the middle, and at the end, he's a better player and he manages to win the Falcon. Or like he could have borrowed the Falcon from someone, lost it in a game of cards, and then at, at the end of the movie he recovers the ship again, or I don't know, something like that. And then like he could recover the ship and just run away with it instead of returning it to its rightful owner. But I don't know. I'm just talking about how this movie could be better and not like a real analysis of it. But I don't know. It's just I like Hands so much. Like the first time I watched this franchise, Han was not my favorite characters by far. Like I think it was Anakin, and like after that it was Obi-Wan, and then Luke, and then maybe Han. I don't know. But like rewatching it, I really started enjoying this character, and then they made this movie that it's so bad that I just keep thinking of ways that it could have been better. But anyway, going back to the movie, there is this card game where Han tries to win the Falcon from Lando, but he does not manage to do that. And then, like 5 minutes later, um, they managed to convince Lando to borrow his ship. So, like, why we had the card game if 5 minutes later we would be able to convince Lando to join us in the castle run? Like, the card game could have not existed too, because it does not add much to the story. Um, Besides, of course, in the end of the movie, Han being able to beat Lando, but that's just it. Like, the card game at this moment is not really important. It just like establishes that Lando cheats on the game, and then later on, Han manages to steal his device, so he's not able to cheat anymore, and then he gets the Falcon. But they could have made the scene more important. Like, even if they, let's say, in this moment, Han is able to beat Lando, and then Lando joins the crew. It could work, but like, my problem with this moment is that there is this like 5 minute long scene that does not add much and loses the game, and then 5 minutes later they manage to convince Lando to join them in the castle run. So it's like, if you would be able to convince him to join us, why there is the card game? Like, we could just go straight up to talking with him, and convince him to help us. But moving on, after that, they finally go to the castle run, and they manage to get to the mining facility. They steal the fuel particles. Something that I really need to say before I forget is that Lando character is really good at this movie. Like, they really nailed it by choosing this actor to portray him. But going back to the movie, they managed to enter the mining facility. They get the ship to the place they need to, and then there is that, how can I call it? Like, there is that moment that Han tries to get the money he would receive for the fuel particles and still keep the fuel particles. I forgot the word for it. He tries to deceive. He tries to deceive the guy that hired him to get the fuel particles, and that is something that I liked in this movie. Like, him trying to get the money from the fuel particles while also keeping the fuel particles. So that was a nice idea. I don't think it got executed very well. Um, but yeah, at the end of the movie, Han manages to not have the money nor the fuel particles because he gives them to some rebels to fight against the Empire. Um, there is the game of cards where Han manages to get the Falcon, and then the movie ends. Um, so I didn't had much problem with this movie. Um, After the moment they assemble the crew to do the castle run, like from the moment they find Lando up to the end of the movie, it's a really good movie. But to get to that moment, we need to endure around 50 minutes of boring stuff that, if the writers wanted, uh, could have not existed. Like the Borgless gang subplot, the Imperial subplot, the smugglers gang subplot, all of that. If the writers wanted, all of that could have not existed. We could have started from the moment Han assembles the crew. Um, so yeah, because like after that moment, I had just a couple things that bother me, and I'll get to them right now. So when we finally meet Lando, he has this robot companion. And that shit is annoying. From the moment the robot get shown, I knew that that character would be a really bad character. The design is cool, the voice acting is cool, but the script, like the lines this character have to say, those are really bad. And it's because of politics, of course. Because they could have made that, they could have like let that out of the movie. But they decided to keep it. Like they could have made it just a robot, a normal robot like R2 or C3PO. Like um, those are nice robots in the franchise. Um, they have cool designs. They have cool voice actors. They have a nice dynamic between them, like R2 being the more adventure one, while C3PO is like a more like I don't think I could say like afraid, because like he just don't like adventures, but he will still go after R2 to try to rescue him. Or like if we have this task where we need to go to Jabba's palace, he will go there because it's the best. It's the best for the rebellion. So those are really nice robots. The one in Rogue One also, it's really nice. It has a cool design. It has a cool voice actor, and like um, he does not throw politics at us at any time. But for this movie, they just decided to go into that direction. So from the moment we see um oh god, now that I said from the moment, I just the Warhammer copy pasta just struck my head, and now I can't think of anything else besides from the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh. It disgusted me. But oh god, from the moment we see this robot that I can't even remember the name, she's just trying to talk about politics. Like there is these two robots fighting each other, and she's just like, um, free yourself from the humans. They are making you fight for just their entertainment, or like some shit like that. Um, and if it had stopped in that moment, to me it would be good enough. But then later on, um, we have this moment where the crew is at the Falcon going to the mining facility, and I believe it's Lando that asks the robot if she wants anything, and then she just answers him with um, with equal rights. So again, it's just another moment that um, threw me off, threw me away from, like, pushed me away from the movie. Like I'm fully immersed into it. Like the visuals are great. It feels everything looks real, but then this character just talks about real world politics, and it just kind of get me off from the mood. Like it pushes me away from believing that that story is real. And as I saw some people pointing out, um, robots in Star Wars, in the Star Wars universe, they are kinda treated as normal people, like like from the Phantom Menace. No one kicks R2. They treat him really well. Like in the Phantom Menace, I believe he gets a medal for his courage because he went out, and like the ship they are in gets attacked, and then Archer goes out and repairs the ship. So I think they give him a medal of courage for that. Like he gets to meet the queen, like Padme. So you can't say robots don't have equal rights out of nowhere. And like in the entire prequel trilogy, it's just the same. Like Anakin keeps treating R2 very well. Obi-Wan has a droid too. I believe it's R4. R4. And he also treats his droid very well. And I didn't even talk about like Anakin building C-3PO, like trying his best to make that droid. And then on the original trilogy, it's the same. Like at the at the beginning of the movie, Luke goes after R2. Like when R2 flees, Luke goes after it to save him. Like, sure, he paid for the droid, so it would be bad for his family if the droid he just bought had run away. But when he finally gets to R2, he just helps the droid to find Obi-Wan. He could have placed that bolt again into R2, because there was this bolt that prevented the droids from fleeing. So he could have just placed it again on the droid and went back to his house. But he decides to help R2 to find Obi-Wan, and when he finds Obi-Wan, he stays for a while and like let the droid show the message he got. So like if droids were like lower than humans, like in a lower class, I don't think that would happen. Like Luke would find R2 again, place the bolt in it, and bring him back to his uncle's house. So yeah, there is that moment where the bartender tells to the droids must wait outside, but it's just that we don't know if that's like a general thing, like every bar does not allow droids inside it, or if it's like just this single bar, like this one guy does not like droids in his establishment. It's not establishment. It's another thing. Right, it is establishment. So we don't know if it's a general thing or it's just like this one guy that does not like droids. And then again, in the sequel trilogy, the same happens. Like R2 just shut himself off, and no one throws him away. Like we start the sequel trilogy, R2 is it's on low maintenance mode, and they just keep him there. They do not like try to force him out of that mode. They don't throw him away. They keep him in there, and it's a rebellion. They get attacked very often. So every time they get attacked, they grab R2, put him in a ship, and make sure that he safely gets into the next rebellion camp. So it kind of feels off that in this particular movie droids are treated as slaves. So I don't know. And then like we get to the mining camp. The droid dies in a very funny way. Like we get to the mining camp, we manage to steal the fuel particles. We are getting back to the ship so we can escape. And then a rebellion starts at that mining facility. The droid gets hit it falls into the ground, and then Lando tries to save the droid. So he picks her up in his arms, and half the droid just falls into the ground. Like he uh, he pulls the droid from the ground, and just the lower half of it just lies down in there. So Lando is able to save just the upper half of the droid. And that is how you not kill a character. Because that shit was too funny for me. But yeah, the droid is a problem. There is some sexual jokes that I don't think it fits very well into this movie, and I think all these jokes are said by this droid. So it's another problem in this character. Like that is the moment. I think it's before she says that she wants equal rights for the droids, that she is talking about how Lando is in love with her, and she just get into some details of how they make sex. So also another thing that I thought that didn't um, fit very well into the movie. And again, another problem that this droid brought to the movie. There is just another thing that I want to mention, which is right when they get to the mining camp, they try to copy what happens on the Return of the Jedi, where the characters get into Jabba's palace, disguised. Uh, so they try to mimic that. So part of the crew is disguised as, that does not sound right, but I think that's the word for it. So part of the crew gets into the mining facility disguised as guards, while Han and Chewie are disguised as prisoners. Like the plan was um, to deceive the guards into the mining facility to think that Han and Chewie are slaves that they are trying to sell to the mining facility. And then there is one particular line that again kind of pushed me away from this movie, which is the clipping. So they get into the mining facility. The guards from the mining facility start to check Han and Chewie to see if like they have any problem, like if they have good teeth, if they are strong enough, and then they say that they need to take them to clipping. And the one that says that is again the robot. So the people on the mining facility, they talk in another language, and the droid is translating it to the main cast and to the audience. So the people on the mining facility say something, and the droid translates it to they need to take Ham and Chewie to clipping, and then Ham starts to question what they are going to clip. So in a normal movie, if there was no politics, if this droid were made in a different way, I would have think that the clipping is like their hair. They need to clip the slave's hair. Um, but this is not a normal movie. This have this politically engaged droid. This droid that like is talking about equal rights and how she wants to fuck with Lando. So when she talks about clipping and Han starts to desperately the, he starts to question what they are going to clip. There is like a voice in the back of my head just saying like they are going to clip their cocks, they are gonna take their balls away or some shit like that, because of how the droid was made. Like we can't be sure about what they are going to clip, and like if politics were never brought into this movie, if this droid were better written, I wouldn't have this doubt of what is going to happen. And like they also don't show what is going to happen. Like let's say if the clipping is the hair, like they could have managed to trap both the characters into a chair, and there is someone that like runs towards Chewie to clip his fur, and then Chewie gets angry and throws the guy away, and then the movie resumes. So we know that the clipping is the hair, like, but we don't see that. So the clipping could be anything, and the way like the robot says like, oh, they are going to take you to clipping, and like the way Han starts to question like what is they going to clip, that makes me think that they are not talking about hair. But yeah, so basically all my concerns about this movie is that it tries to explain too much, and there is this fucking robot that keeps bringing politics into the movie. So yeah, that's them. 54 minutes. Yeah, I think that's the longest video I made so far. Yeah, that's what I thought about Solo, the Star Wars story. Or should I say that's what I thought about Unattended, or All by Himself, a Star Wars story.